Oh god, it's a twister. Be careful. This is scary. Oh good, let's get out of here. Hello everybody and welcome to Offhand Ideas, and I hope you like the new intro. I've really been working with a better editing software, but I want to get straight to the point. I have not reviewed a lot of live action films because back then I used to find them really entertaining. Now I just find them boring, with all these legacy sequels not living up to the original, and it just gives me the smack in the face. What's the point of even watching them? So, that's kind of the reason I haven't been watching them lately. But I heard earlier this year that there is a sequel coming out to one of my favorite films of all time. That being Twister. Twister is literally a phenomenal movie. And I've expected a sequel for a long time. And it made Universal a lot of money in the box office, and I'm surprised they didn't do it sooner. But, if you've been looking on the internet lately, I think you'll know why they didn't make a, sequel to the original sooner. Yeah, you can find that out for yourself. I'm not gonna tell you. And that is why we just haven't got a sequel. And since we're in the time of legacy sequels with Beetlejuice 2 coming out later this year, and in the past we have Top Gun, Space Jam, and it just keeps going. Some are good, some are mid, some are bad. And yeah, for me, this year has kind of been an on and off experience for movies. None of them have really been bad, except for Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate. But I came from the Garfield movie to then Inside Out, then Despicable Me 4 to this. It's been up and down lately. So I went to the theater to watch this, and I did not know what to expect. I really didn't. I should have had high hopes for it, because it is a sequel to one of my favorite movies. But I just came back to the fact, like, what if I'm going to be bored? And when I walked out of that theater, oh my lord, I had so much fun with that film that it is just such a fun movie from start to finish. I highly recommend it, first of all, but literally every bit of the charm the original had is all in this. And I actually think it is one of the best legacy sequels we've gotten in current years, because it does a lot of references to the original Twister. I mean, a lot. But it does not have connections to the original in really any way. What I mean by that is none of the stars from the original return. They're all replaced by new people. And that's kind of what, in my opinion, sets this one apart from the others. Like, you have the iconic scene of the truck getting picked up by the Twister and getting rammed into the sign. But you don't have any of the main characters from the original, which could be a fault at times, because, like, I think you could be going into this movie for those characters, like, to see them again. But I think this is where that movie shines, because it's its own thing while paying tributes to the original in many ways. And this is your spoiler-free review. I'm not going to go over anything. I'm just going to go over some slight plot depictions, But, I'm gonna review a few spoilers. Not a ton. So let's just get into it. We start off the film with literally one of, if not my favorite scenes in the movie. We'll get to the one it battles with later. So we get introduced to Kate, and Kate is like your classic nerdy schoolgirl who like wants to make a difference, and she's got like 5 friends in this, including Piranha, Mr. Piranha, Anthony Ramos. Oh, it has been so long since I've seen him in a movie. Oh, he's so good. So then they want to find a way to stop tornadoes from happening in the town of Oklahoma, which is where a lot of the twisters have been happening. So they think there's a solution to this by releasing a bunch of barrels of toxic gases into the air, which would somehow fix the problems, therefore dissipating the wind. And they do that, but they didn't have enough of the barrels, and that internally just makes the whirlwind grow. And as it grows, it literally consumes multiple people, and it consumes so many people, some specific, that she feels like this is all her fault, and she doesn't want to try and find a cure for the tornadoes anymore, and she just quits because she feels like all those people died because of her. And that is her driving force throughout the entire movie. And we cut to 5 years later. She's a weather girl in New York. She's just like your mom's job. Like, she sits behind a computer every day. And she comes home for lunch and dinner and, like, just that. And Anthony Ramos comes back, and he tells Kate that they've actually, over those 5 years, him and a military crew have found a way to actually cure the tornado. But first, they needed to get the combination code for it. And how they're doing that is they place several scanners throughout the tornado. And those scanners will somehow collect the data, and after the data is loaded, then it will somehow create a cure for the tornado. And then they go to Oklahoma, and then we run into the guy who has been the main celebrity name for this movie, Glenn Powell. He has been appearing everywhere lately. And he in this movie is a tornado wrangler and is basically an American tourist attraction with a bunch of his shady American hillbillies as his friends. And yeah, those guys were really fun characters. I was not expecting to like them as much as I did. I thought they were very, very fun characters. And yeah, they're just all really, really fun. And yeah, and throughout the entire movie, they're chasing the tornadoes. And at the beginning, they both hate each other, Glenn Powell and Kate. They both hate each other, but during the middle, they find out that they both want to do the same thing, but they both have different ways of doing it, and they eventually learn that if they both combined their ways to doing it, it would actually fix the problem. And Anthony Ramos, we learn at the end, Anthony Ramos is actually working for an investor corporation that is profiting off the demise of the tornadoes happening, and that the gadget plan is not going to work. It's just like scanning tornadoes again and again and again and again and again, and just scanning them just for the sake of money. And that was kind of weird. But then we get the classic scene of all of the tornadoes going on. The second half of the film is so good. And then we get the iconic scene, which is my second favorite scene in the entire movie, of the Fire-nado. I know, that is a dumb name for a scene. So the Fire-nado, basically, in the middle of the film, they're going to trap the tornado. They're doing that, but Anthony Ramos is still thinking like his way is the best. He thinks his way is the best, and then he goes in, but then his engineer dude says like, "Hey, yo, no, we need that money." So they literally drive into the firenado, and then the tornado crashes into an oil rig, and then the oil rig explodes, and then the explosions weave through the tornado, making a firenado. That is crazy. And then they drive away, and I actually forgot how the firenado got defeated. I was just like so mesmerized on like how that got created. So then for the final climax of the movie, Anthony Ramos turns to the good side, and then the three of them go to Reno, and then they stop, and then the mega tornado is forming, the biggest tornado of the bunch, which is the Lightning-nado. And then they go to Reno, and the tornado hits. It literally has gone full Mad Max, and it destroys everything in its path. And then Kate figures out the way to end the tornado, and she does what she did in the beginning of the film. That moment of her driving into the tornado with the barrels, and then Anthony Ramos and Glenn Powell like watching her do it, tears forming in their eyes, and her letting, and the risky music, the music building up, and all of the tension being on Kate while she releases the barrels, not knowing it will work, and then the tornado disbands. Oh lordy, this movie was good. This movie was so amazing, and it ends with her deciding she wants to stay in Oklahoma to keep chasing down the Twisters. This film gets a solid 9 out of 10. I know there's no Helen Hunt in it, and I know that other guy died, so they couldn't put him in it even if they wanted to. So, yeah, this film gets a good 9 out of 10. I think this film is amazing, and you should definitely all go watch it and check out my shorts. They're in the shorts panel on my YouTube. And thank you all for your support on that Despicable Me 3 video. My future is looking so good, and I only have you guys to thank for it. So thank you all for that, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!